If you are in the US military, either active, reserve, or veteran, you have the most powerful house buying tool, which is a VA loan. It's zero down, no PMI, and competitive interest rate. But if you're wondering about the process, what are the steps, the roadmap, this video breaks it down in different sections, and I walk you through all the steps starting from the day one when you think you want to buy a house till the end when you have closed on the house. Hi, my name is Ashwin. I'm a real estate agent with Durazio Real Estate, and I serve in Chicago and nearby suburbs. I primarily work with military clients who are looking to buy a condo, townhome, single family, or they're looking to buy a 2 to 4 unit as an investor using their VA loan. I like to create and provide information which is real, simple, and straight. No BS, no frill. So before I jumped into the whole buying process, let's understand why or how this VA loan came into existence. So going back in time, the Congress realized that people like us, meaning people who have served this country, have really worked hard, and we should help them in the buying process. So that is why the VA loan came into existence, where the Veteran Affairs or the VA backs a portion of a loan amount so that the lenders can provide you VA loan at zero down and no PMI. So the way you worked hard for the country is working for you to help you buying the house. So before you step in any house with the intention to buy or explore, make sure you have the Certificate of Eligibility, also known as COE, Charlie Oscar Echo. Uh, there are different ways you can be eligible depending if you served active or reserve. So if you were active, anywhere from 90 active days to 180 days, depending if it was wartime or peacetime. If you're in the reserve or National Guard, you have served minimum of 6 years. And again, I repeat, it's 6 years, not 6 months or not 60 days. So make sure you understand in which category you fall in. And then how do I get it? So the one way is you go to the va.gov and log in your account, and there's a section where you can request for Certificate of Eligibility, or you speak to your lender. Mainly the lenders who externally have experience working on the VA loans, they can actually digitally or electronically pull the information on your behalf, which can take anywhere from 1 business day to a couple of business days. So this way you know if you're eligible or not, or if anything is missing. My personal experience was totally different, and I share that more in the last section, which is the market reality check, where I share real life experience. So check it out. Understanding the VA entitlement. VA entitlement means the amount the VA will approve you for the loan amount. Uh, Generally, you might hear that you have full entitlement, meaning the VA has not imposed any restriction on the amount of the loan they will approve for. So it means that your loan amount is based on what the lender approves you for, which is a big deal actually. And the other thing is that the VA loan can be used multiple times. So it's not one-time use only. So meaning if you have used it once, you may have partial entitlement. So to give you an example, let's say you are approved for $800,000 by the lender and you bought a house at $500,000. Technically, you have a partial entitlement of $300,000. So you can use that $300,000 to buy the next home at $300,000, or you can sell the first one or refinance it so that you restore the full entitlement, meaning now you have the full $800,000, which you can use it as a VA loan to buy the next property. Okay. When in confusion, when in doubt, make sure you do check with your lender of where you are, what you want to do, and why you want to do, so that your lender can come up with a strategy, as well as talk to your agent as well. So these guys can help you to come up with a game plan for your next investment. The next step is to get your finances ready. The VA generally doesn't have like a credit score criteria. However, the lenders prefer to it's a nice to have if you have more than 640 or plus. This way you are still eligible for like a good competitive rate. If your scores are slightly lower than 600, not a problem. The lenders mostly have like these programs which help you to improve your credit score as long as you follow their game plan. And it can take anywhere from 3 months to 6 months, sometimes a little bit longer, just based on your situation and the plan they have in place. Okay, so there's always a good opportunities out there and strategies for lenders to work with you. At the same time, I would say make sure you have these key documents available, preferably like electronic copy or saved on your hard drive. That is your last 2 to 3 years of tax return, your 2 to 3 months of bank statements, like all bank statements, and probably 2 to 3 months of your last, like the pay stub or any source of income you may have. So this will be very helpful, as nowadays most of the lenders have like a portal where they send you an invite and where you log in and upload these documents. So this will be very helpful in the whole buying process or the approval process. The next step is to getting pre-approved, and not just pre-qualified, pre-approved. Pre-qualifying means that the lender has taken the information at a high level, not like reviewed any documents and came up with the loan amount number, which might change. When you get pre-approved, the lender has run your credit score, reviewed all your documents, and came up with the loan amount which they're confident to commit on. My advice is always talk to at least 2 to 3 different lenders. The VA loan process is the same. However, every lender will have their own process, own fees, own structure, which can make a difference, and also the kind of rates they're offering. There might be like a small difference, but that small difference over the spread of 30 years can be a huge amount. So it's always a good idea to ask your lenders to provide you a loan estimate, which kind of breaks down the loan amount, all the fees, taxes, and everything they have taken into consideration. So it's kind of comparing apples to apples. And the best way to find these lenders is talk to your agent who is experienced working with the VA loan to provide you like at least 2 to 3 names, so you can have a conversation with them and do your own due diligence. The next step is working with the VA experienced real estate agent. This is a critical step, and the reason is that the VA appraiser is slightly different than the conventional appraiser. The VA appraiser process has a minimum property requirement, which primarily focuses on sanitary, safety, and structure. So as an experienced agent, while showing you the house, the agent should be able to point out any red flags or any issues which might come up during the VA appraiser. One of the most common examples which I find when I work with my veteran buyers in Chicago is the hand railing going to the basement, which is considered as a safety issue. So that's something will be flagged during VA appraiser. So as long as you can identify these areas, these issues with your agent, your agent can help and work with the listing agent accordingly and kind of structure the deal as well to make sure it's in your favor and protecting your interests. At the same time, your agent is educating and working with the listing agent and the seller about the VA loan process, because many times people have this negative perception about how the VA loan process is. So it's very critical to have an agent who is very well aware and experienced in working on the VA loan and VA buyers. The next step is home search. Keep in mind the VA loan is designed only for the primary residence. It's not for the investment, it's not for the vacation home. So even if you're planning to buy a 2 to 4 unit, you need to make sure you're living in one of the unit as owner occupied. When you're buying a condo using a VA loan, there's a slightly different process where they have to go through a VA condo approval process. So there is like publicly available a website, and your lenders can also share with you, or your agent, where you can actually check a particular condo if it's approved or not. If it's not approved, it's not a dead deal. There is a process where the lender can request for the approval, VA approval process. And to give you some history, in the past it took much longer time, but nowadays, thanks to all the digital process, it's much faster. So it doesn't cause too much of delays. At the same time, there are some new exceptional rules known as waiver, where the VA can have a one-time waiver option if you're looking to buy a condo. But again, your agent and your lender can check that and kind of guide you accordingly. Uh, at the same time, when you're looking to buy a house, think of it like a 5-year investment plan, or from a 5-year perspective. And usually, when I work with my buyers in Chicago, so I tell them that think of it from a 5-year game plan, meaning in the future, how what your be your situation in terms of, would you have additional family members, or additional pets, or you might have a unique situation to take care, you may have some elderly family members coming and living with you. So I just want to make sure you think it from a 5-year plan. At the same time, if you're living in a house where you only have one bathroom, but you know in the 5 years you may have more family members, then it'll be a good idea to look for a house, again, based on your budget and location and situation, to at least have a two bath requirement. Um, at the same time, when you're looking at the house, again, your agents will guide you from a VA appraiser perspective, meaning look for like any peeling paint, any roof issues, broken windows, because anything which comes from the appraiser has to be repaired or fixed before closing. So make sure to keep all this in mind. And at the same time, as an agent, your agent will be guiding you through all the process. My only suggestion to especially when I work with my clients, is like the house, don't fall in love till you close on it. The next step is making an offer. That's where the fun begins, especially for me as an agent who primarily works with on VA loan for military clients. The reality is that, at least in Chicago market, it's a seller's market, just because there are not many houses available to buy. And the buyers have the fear, and which is real, that the sellers don't like the VA loan, or they may not accept the VA loan. Well, that's true. I also have multiple deals under contract as we speak right now, um, and most of them are VA buyers right now. So the strategy I use is, one is to structure the deal, or the structure the contract based on what the seller is looking for, and make it as solid as possible. Also educating the listing agent and the seller that, one, the buyer has a pre-approval, not just qualifying, but pre-approval letter from the lender, meaning the lender is confident that they can close based on the loan amount. At the same time, I also identify any possible issues which might get caught up during the VA appraiser, and kind of educate the seller and the listing agent, and kind of give them the heads up to avoid any last minute surprises. And at the same time, the VA has something known as VA escape clause, and the whole idea is, which is part of your contract, and the whole idea is to protect the buyer in case the appraisal amount comes lower than the offer price. So you're not, as a buyer, obligated or forced to close on the deal, but you can either renegotiate or get out of the deal or exit out of the deal without any issues. Without any issues. The next step is the VA funding fees. So VA charges like a one-time funding fees as part of processing the loan amount. So John, typically for the first-time home buyer with a zero down payment, you're looking at 2.15% of the purchase price. The one thing to keep in mind is that you don't have to pay this funding fee at the closing. You also have the option to roll over with your loan amount, so you're not paying the full, like the funding fees at the closing. Um, One other thing to make sure, and I always check with my military clients to ask about their disability rating. If they have the disability rating anything anywhere over 10%, they are exempted from the funding fees, which is a decent amount of saving. At the same time, these rates will vary depending on if you're using it for the second time or a third time. And these rates tend to fluctuate a little bit. So the easy way is, again, we check with your lender agent, but also it's publicly available on the va.gov website. Now the final step is the closing day. So that is, by now you have your lender has approved you and you're ready to close. If you had any issues during the VA appraiser, it's all taken care. So the VA appraiser is also happy. Um, Usually in Chicago with my clients, we do a final walkthrough on the closing day before we sign the documents to make sure the property is in a good condition as we saw it last time. I've seen many times that there is like a leak happening due to rain or some pipe bursting, uh, which technically will be your responsibility once you sign those documents. So make sure you do spend some time checking the house during the final walkthrough. At the time of closing, which in Chicago we do it at the title company, where your lawyer will go through a good amount of documents, which is part of the process, signing it, which can take anywhere from 1 hour to 2 hours, explaining you different prevention, the loan conditions you are signing, so that you better understand what you're getting into at this point. And after you have signed all the documents, you'll be also asked to bring a cashier's check or do a wire transfer, which is part of the closing cost, which generally you will have a more accurate number at least 2 to 3 business days before the closing date. So just keep that in mind. And once that's done, you get your keys and you are the proud owner of the house. So just a quick recap. I went through like the 10 steps from starting from certificate of eligibility to closing day and getting your keys. I'll put it out here somewhere on the screen, the whole list, uh, which should be handy for you and kind of give you a quick recap. So this is the market reality check section where I share some of the live examples. In the beginning, during the COE or the Certificate of Eligibility section, I mentioned I had a different experience. So in my case, I was already working as an agent, and I was working to get my COE. And actually, I had already came across a property which I was very interested for an offer, and I already knew the listing agent, so I said, let me get my paperwork start running, working on it, and I reached out to my lender, and my lender was like happy that I finally found a property which I want to buy myself. And he's like, I got it, buddy. I'll get your documents up and running. Next thing we know that electronically we could not get the approval since they needed some documents. So we kind of requested the VA in a manual process and working with my lender. And then we got a response where they needed some additional information and documentation. So at that very time, that very moment, I realized that this is not going to take. This is going to take more than a couple of days. It could be a couple of weeks. So I went straight to my listing agent, to the seller, that hey, I'm very much interested in your property, but at the same time, I want to be upfront and transparent with you that this is the process right now I am at, which can take a couple of days or a couple of weeks, which can push the closing timeline. But once I have this, and if you trust and willing to work with me, I'll take it to the finish line. Or if at this point we should back out of the deal, that's totally understandable. Luckily, they did trusted me, and now finally I got that property, the 3 unit under contract.